Welcome back if you've been here before. And if this is your first visit to my channel, I'm glad you found me and I hope you like it here. First off, if you think my voice sounds a little off here, it's because this isn't really me. I've lost my voice due to a cold. So I've implemented the wonderful world of a text-to-speech app to create the voiceover on the first project of this video. Technology can be a wonderful thing, but don't worry, projects 2 and 3 are all me. Today, I've got 3 wonderful spring-themed thrift flips coming your way. I hope you enjoy them. Our first project today is this Pedestal Art Board, something I discovered, of course, during a thrift store treasure hunt. I immediately knew it could have a beautiful new life. I'm using Roycycled Decoupage paper called Botanical Masterboard, and I have chosen this lovely panel from the sheet. Trim it carefully to fit your surface. And always keep those extra pieces handy, because you never know when they'll come in useful. To apply the decoupage, I'm using Liquitex Professional Matte Medium. It's an acrylic medium that I've found works incredibly well for decoupage projects. First, I lightly mist the paper to relax the fibers, allowing for a smoother, wrinkle-free application. Oops, making a bit of a mess as usual, totally normal. I apply an anchor point first, rather than trying to line up the entire paper at once. This helps ensure that the paper goes on straight. Make sure there are no dry spots beneath, as these can cause bubbles. Smooth the paper gently with your hand or a balled up piece of plastic wrap. Then apply a second coat of the Liquitex medium to seal your paper securely in place. Once it's completely dry, sand the edges gently to remove any excess paper. And voila! Now for the other side. This time I'm using Roycycled's paintable floral decoupage paper, applying it exactly as I did before. Because I'll be adding watercolor paints, I'm prepping the surface with a coat of Daniel Smith's transparent watercolor ground. This medium is more absorbent than gesso, allowing my paints to beautifully soak in, but not too much. One good coat, then let it dry completely. I've had these tubes of watercolor paints for years, and to be honest, I've barely used them. I adore the delicate look of watercolor, even though I'm still figuring out exactly how to use them. The soft translucency is exactly what I'm aiming for here. I've selected various yellows and greens for this flower. Painting it turned out to be quite soothing. Even if I'm uncertain midway, I keep gently layering colors until it feels right. The key here is not to take it too seriously. Just enjoy the creative process. To brighten the background, I chose purples, pinks, and a touch of blue to tie everything together. I'm pleased with how vibrant and playful it turned out. For an extra touch, I decided to add a small paint inlay on the other side. Again, I'm using the Liquitex medium. It's surprisingly versatile. Apply a generous, solid coat of the matte medium first. Then place your paint inlay gently on top, pressing it down lightly. Mist the back of the inlay with water, pressing firmly to ensure good contact. I was a little impatient, so I quickly dried it with my heat tool, misted it again, and gave it a moment to soak in thoroughly. Dab off excess water gently with a baby wipe, then slowly peel back the backing paper. What a beautiful result. Another quick pass with the heat tool, then seal the design with one more thin coat of the matte medium. I'll also carefully seal the watercolor side, working gently to avoid smudging the paints. once completely dry, the edges need a finishing touch. I'm using DIY Paint's Golden Ticket, applying a couple of coats for a rich, luxurious finish. I also decided to add hints of gold to the pedestal itself, tying everything together beautifully. Still, it felt like it needed a little something more. So I chose this charming decorative stamp from IOD's Countryside Memoir set, along with Distress Oxide ink in ground espresso. Carefully positioning the stamp to avoid smearing, I stabilize it gently while pressing down firmly. The stamp size was perfect for wrapping around the edges and sides, adding that final elegant detail. This pedestal artboard has transformed from boring to wow. I absolutely love how it turned out. Stick around because there are 2 more thrifted spring-themed makeovers coming your way.
everybody. Okay, so this week I'm working on this thrifted bunny that I got from a thrift store, and he's a ceramic bunny, and somebody has already decoupaged this book, looks like book pages on him, which I like, so I'm not gonna decoupage over him. That was my original plan, but then I came up with something different. So he's a little bit, must have been sitting in the sun or something, because he's a little bit yellowed on this one side, which is okay because I want to make him look a little bit more old and antique. So I like the pages. I wish I knew what the book was, but it doesn't matter. So let's get started on this guy. Okay, so this is going to be pretty simple, easy project. I'm gonna be using DIY Paints Dark and Decrepit as a kind of a glaze. So this already has a clear coat on it. I'm not sure what they used, but I'm assuming that with it sitting, it must have been getting sunlight and it yellowed. Because this side's perfectly fine, but this side's got some damage. So I'm just going to use Dark and Decrepit to kind of add to that antique look. And I'm just going to brush it on. And then I'm going to take my baby wipe and we're going to dab some of that off. But I want to leave a lot of that brown on there. You can do this with paint or anything, any other kind of glaze. It's a pretty easy process. Using the Dark and Decrepit, I'm just working in relatively small areas so that it doesn't dry too much that I can't remove. There we go. It's already drying down here. A little bit more of an antique look to him. And I'm not sure if he's done yet or if I'm gonna try to add maybe a transfer. We'll have to see how it goes. Okay, so I did decide to go with a transfer, and this little one I've cut out of the Wild Bloemen. I don't know how to say that, so I'm just winging it with that. And I think it's going to look really cute right about here. It's kind of on his belly. But I'm gonna cut this out a little bit closer to the image just for ease of application, because I'm applying a two-dimensional image onto a three-dimensional object, so giving me this room to kind of move with this a little bit more will help get a better application. I'm just putting down the main parts of the image here first. Now, I didn't seal this with anything. Dark and Decrepit is a patina from the DIY paint line, and it is a built-in sealer, so there's no need to put an extra one on top to be able to apply the transfer. Sometimes on these kind of unique shapes, it's easier to just use a fingernail. He's not perfectly smooth because of the decoupage papers on there. Okay, so I'm gonna wanna see if I can peel this up. There we go. Just gently peeling this up to make sure that all of my transfer has adhered. Good to go. Just gonna burnish this down with my finger and make sure the transfer is fully adhered everywhere. Gives them a little pop of color. And I'm going to go, I've got a tiny little where I pushed in to get that stem set down. There's a tiny little brighter spot there where the decoupage let go. So I'm just going to take a tiny brush and a little bit of, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. A little bit of the Dark and Decrepit. To kind of touch that up in there. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to seal this with a clear coat just because I want to seal the transfer on there, and maybe a little bow, and he'll be good to go. Okay, he's all sealed up, and I found this really cute green satin ribbon, and I think it looks perfect on him. Ties in with the greens on his transfer. He's cute. I think he turned out really well. And it was an easy flip. It didn't take very long. Most of the work was done for me already. I just needed to add a little bit of oomph to it. Hello. This is another quick thrift flip. So it's gonna start out with these simple little, they're metal little pitchers. They're IKEA. And I found them at a thrift store for a couple bucks each. And I'm just gonna put some transfers on them to give them a little bit of life, not just plain white. Okay, so we're gonna use this Wild Bloemen or Wild Bloemen or however you say it. I don't know. Don't come at me for my pronunciations. But we're gonna take some of these transfers and put them on these white pitchers. Any of these simple little flowers are gonna be good. Let's see what we've got to work with here. Okay. So I've washed these already. So they're all cleaned and ready to go. And these transfers should apply pretty easily. To this surface, it's almost like putting it on glass. Oh. It's hard to stabilize and rub the transfer on something round. Trying to be careful peeling this up, making sure that the whole transfer is adhered. There we go. I'm just going to use this backing paper to burnish everything on there. That makes a big difference. It looks so much prettier now. So you want to be careful that you don't do that. Because what happened was I went off the sheet and back, and that ends up messing up the transfer. So that's annoying. But it happens, especially when you only have two hands and you're trying to hold and rub on this transfer all at the same time. So I messed up that top little stem, but I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. I don't think I'm gonna put this butterfly on because it's kind of giant for one thing. And I think those two transfers are kind of enough. So let's work with the other one. That's really pretty. So now these, I wouldn't wash them, like put them in water and scrub them, but you could just like dust the outside. I would use these as just decorative. You could put water inside. They are metal. But I think they look really adorable now. Totally added a lot of life to them versus that plain white. They turned out good.